Welcome back to another live session for the NY. After this London session successful trade, the market in fact has shown pretty crazy move. You guys have seen that. Now we are beginning another trading session. Also we'll be discussing about the previous session's live trade. Here is the market currently again pushing back to the upside here. I placed the previous session's entry here again to see what happened. Now at the moment we can see the market is approaching that 4-hour resistance line. What you can see here in this market at the moment, the market from here, there is a rejection to the upside, and that rejection might lead that price potentially back to the upside here. And looking at the lower time frame here, we can see the market from this support level, we saw there was a rejection to the upside here, and Xauusd currently again moving back to the upside for potentially another bounce. And if we look at the 4-hour here, we can see this market in fact has got a rejection from the high, and we could see potentially another retest of this level. Now are you going to be selling or buying? What's your thought and opinion in this market at the moment? Waiting. Thank you. Welcome back to the live session, guys. Are you be looking at Gbpusd or gold? Welcome. Let us know here, Gbpusd or gold. Which one is you're gonna look at the moment? And like this stream, guys, if you haven't done yet. Welcome. Pretty excited. Let's begin. We see gold now trying to fill that long wick here, and as the market getting the rejection again back to the upside here, we might even see a daily resistance test. A couple of areas that we can look for. One probability, the other probability is just to break this 4-hour high and then return back again. Gold, okay, gold, welcome. Xauusd sell? Do you think so? Okay. Xauusd sell or buy? What do you think? We'll keep an eye on also on Gbpusd as well. British pound US dollar moving in an important area of value. Along with gold, also you'll keep eye on Gbpusd for potential entry. Probably Gbpusd also going to a zone where we might be able to find possible sell entry that I'm looking at here today on British pound US dollar. We can see this market also showing downtrend here on Gbpjpy. That being said, looking for potential sell entry on Gbpusd after the price action confirmation, where you can see the gold moving back to the upside potentially to cross that previous session's high. Two instrument I'm actively looking at currently, gold as well as British pound US dollar. And British pound US dollar, pretty sharp move that we can see in this market. Here, as you can see, the price slowly building that pressure back to the upside here. From this support level, we can see the market has made its move back to the upside here. We are looking at here, this is a move back below and potentially Gbpusd to bounce to any of this key level of resistance here. Okay, we'll keep Gbpusd on the watch list for a possible upside, and I'll be doing also full analysis this instrument, how we can trade that, while we are looking at gold here, that we can see the market after test of this support again there is an upside bias. Previous session we have successfully closed that gold trade with a good profit in it. Now this is 1 hour price action here, and you can see the market is slowly pushing that price, building the pressure back to the upside here. And from here we can see the market is, you can see it's an upside bias here, and that upside bias that you can see the market slowly pushing back to the upside here in that area. And if you look at the 1 hour and the lower time frame, we can see the market could potentially bounce here. From the 4 hour here we can see it's trying to fill that long wick here. Now this movement that you can see after this doji, the market to go back up, hit that resistance potentially, and 2 sessions high here, and these 2 sessions high that you can see on gold is pretty important here in that area. And that's why you can see the market possibly to go back up, potentially to cross that high, and then to revert back again or continue to rise, depending on how the market structure is forming. There is a daily candle that you can see early. The market has so far moved early on the daily. Total move on daily is 2000 points. That means 206 pip move has been happened so far since the market opened. Returning to the daily resistance can be an opportunity for again to potentially sell. Now this market at the moment, the way it is heading, not a very good market for buying. Potentially we could find selling opportunity in this market, and that's what you can see. Here is an inverted head and shoulder. That inverted head and shoulder could push the price back here to the upside. Crossover of 10 and 20 EMA on the 5-minute chart here on gold, and we might see the market to rebut here again, potentially to cross that high to create a new higher high. And that's what we're looking at on gold. We see that now in an uptrend on gold along with British pound US dollar. Welcome gold. Gold will sell. Gold is definitely well. Okay, gold target for which point? Target TP we haven't entered yet, but we are looking for an entry, especially from the 4-hour high. At the moment, we can see from this support level, this is a 3 times the price respected that level, and we have seen bounce, drop, again rejection, and that rejection may bring the price back to the upside here. If you look at, and you can see from here, this is the move to the upside on gold here, and that's where we can see the market to possibly go ahead, hit that level, cross that high, and then to either continue to rise or return back again. This is the daily level for today. Now, as this market is slowly building its momentum back to the upside here, we could see the market to test 3385 or even break out further to the upside here. Now, how we will be identifying a level for buying or selling? If you guys have looked at our previous sessions that we have opened trades in our previous session, yesterday as well we have opened euro dollar, we have secured, so we have almost nearly to over 90% win rate. That's what we are looking at here. In the premium group, if you guys have joined that, for those. And what we are looking for here, an entry area from where there is high probability trade setup. That's all we need as a trader, and to be able to enter from an area like that, right? To be able to enter from an area where there is high probability trade setup, we need to look for a market now. You can see here from this support level, this is a move. Right now, the most important part in my trading, you guys have seen that the way I trade is completely different from everyone else. Not from everyone else, but from majority. There is a reason behind it. Because everything I learn, most of the 90% of my learning, observational. You guys see that all those trade strategies that I am using is completely observational. And long term tested. The true knowledge strategy comes from observation. You cannot use someone else's strategy. That's a very difficult. You'll see that. Because every strategy is different. Who is implementing the strategy dictates the result of the strategy. Neither you can create a strategy without observation. Backtesting, you'll see that it's sometimes very difficult to find exact results based on the backtesting. So that is why it is very important that you observe the market. And when you are watching the live session, that's why I always emphasize, watch the live session, every session full, so that you can understand, you can blend everything. To be a trader, you even don't need the same education as half of a diploma. But you need the precise information, proper mindset, and a right mentor, coach that can guide you to the right direction. This is very important, because if you want to be a soccer player, then don't go to a surgeon. If you need a surgery, then don't go to the soccer coach. So you need to look at where you need the input to learn the right strategy. Neither be too complicated in your analysis, then you will develop something called the analysis paralysis. Simplicity is the key, right? The simplest way you trade, you win. Now, how do you develop that simplicity in your trading? That's what we will be looking at here in this live session. I buy from support, but we need to close it. Okay, that's a good question. If you bought from support, depending on your stop loss and the gap, now the simplicity of a strategy is based on when the strategy is rooted on this triple W. You follow along this 3W on each trade. That is where your strategy stay ahead always. So what are these 3W? Let's understand that. You don't need anything else. You need this, but not on a strategy. Calendar. When the market is getting those news, make sure you keep your trade properly managed during those news. That is all you need in terms of fundamental. As a short-term trader, or a swing trader, or a day trader, or a scalper. So, what is the first W here that you are looking at in the market on gold and any instrument? We'll go to that. Before we go to that, let's look at today's market here. I'm going to do a full multi-time frame analysis, and then we'll be discussing about this triple W. Now, looking at the monthly, looking at the monthly. Why? Because monthly, weekly, and daily higher time frame giving you a clear direction, removing all the noise from the lower time frame. This is where the monthly structure here in this market. If the stream is going well, guys, can you give a feedback in the live chat? The sounds is okay. Can you guys hear me? Okay, thank you. All right, so the monthly price action on gold, we can see this is series of higher low here. And with this series of higher low from the monthly, we can see that this month the candle is closing. It formed that series of higher low and also series of lower high here. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for confirmation. We can see that with this monthly candlestick pattern in this area, if you look at here, this is the monthly price action where the weekly market as well form a narrower doji in this area on gold. And with this doji that you can see here, right, so you can see the market in this doji. Series of lower high, series of higher low on the monthly perspective on the weekly, and as well there is a doji formation. If we look at the daily, where you can see that from the daily perspective, this is the daily bullish engulfer here. And with this daily bullish engulfer, today the market has crossed that high, completely rejected from that high here with a long bearish candle on the daily time frame. So looking at the 4 hour here, this is where we are looking at the entry, guys. Here is the key points that we are looking at, as the previous session form a doji here in that area on 4 hour on gold. And that doji that you can see the previous session has printed on the 4 hour, which has tested the low, and we can see this session the market is now trying to break that high. But the daily level that you can see today the market has rejected from, and this is daily low. And looking at the 4 hour here, now this is today's low here. If this current candle, we still have 1 hour 16 minutes to go. This is the plan that we are discussing now. If the current price, that means this candle, firstly breaking this 4 hours high, there's one milestone will be reached, and then there is a fair value gap here, no man's land. And once the market crossed that fair value gap, here, and in that fair value gap, we can expect the market to either feel that tested the daily high and then to reject back again below here in this market. And that being said, we see that this is where an important zone, and we have here around 60 pip gap. The trade entry for sell here, we'll be looking at above 3385. So far from here on the 15 minutes, we can see one single move going back to the upside to the key level. And if we look at the 30 minutes here, that you can see the market from this support level as well going to the upside here as well. From the 30 minutes, it is as well moving back to the upside with one single move in that direction on gold. And that move that you can see, I'm looking at 30 minutes and the 50 minutes. 30 minutes, so you can see one single move. And that one single move that we are seeing on gold is in fact making a big difference if the price hitting that level, crossing that high here to the upside. And from this support level, you're looking at this market to cross that high and then to create a new higher high in this market. Now looking at here in this market on the 30 minutes, firstly, we would like to see a break of structure to the upside for sell. And as this market, if you look at closely, we can see that it's respecting this support. And with this support being respected, we can expect the market to potentially cross that high here to create a new higher high in this market. And then once we see the market has created the new higher high, we can look for potential sell. Welcome to Now we can see that move on the lower time frame. The market is trying to break that high here, which is the previous liquidity zone. And that move, what we can see the price slowly breaking that high, potentially to revert back again in this direction. We see from here, there's a triple bottom. And with this triple bottom, we see potentially a bounce here that we're waiting for the market to go ahead, cross that high, and then to return again back below in this market. Now that being said, from the 30 minutes perspective here, it's having that reaction back to the upside here with this one single move on gold. There is a high here, which is the resistance line, and that is where we can see a key level of resistance. The market dropped to that support, bounced back here in that area, and that rejection that you can see on that level here on gold, which is 30 minutes level here from this support level, expecting it to revert there, grab the liquidity, potentially break that high to the upside and then return again, or to drop back below. Now, why am I targeting that zone or this level? Let's understand now the theory. Now, the previous trade will give us a lot of understanding, guys. If you have watched the previous trade, let's look at analyze the previous trade. Now, smart traders are those who not only trade but also analyze the trade. Okay, so if you look at the previous trade here, let's look at here in that area. So look at here in this zone. So this is where the previous trade that we have open sell, right? Stop loss was above this high, little high, and you saw the market dropped from that level, right? In fact, so now what was the specific reason for the previous trade that we have opened in this level? Now, many of you was skeptical about the previous trade, right? I have got a lot of feedback on the live chat saying that, okay, why we didn't buy here? The major trend is up. Why we didn't buy here, right? Now, the question is why you didn't buy as the daily price action that we have seen rejection. Always higher time frame will play out. This is the secret. Higher time frame will always play out. You will see that. And what you can see here, if you look at closely, you can see from this support level, there is a complete break back to the upside here with this momentum. And that momentum, that if you look at what you can see, the market with this move has crossed that key level. And once you see that break of structure, okay, on the lower time frame, and then combining with the higher time frame, because daily market open. Let's go to the daily. Okay, always need to keep in the back of the mind what happened on the daily. So always triggering the daily trade, daily trend is down. So then we are looking at always break of structure to the upside for sell. You see? So as the daily market open with the liquidity grab and the rejection, therefore lower time frame here, we are looking at potentially sell from a key level. That's what we are looking at. And that's all simple, right? We discuss about the triple W. To become a trader, you need to be able to answer in every trade. There are 3 W. You must look at those. The first one is which way to trade. South or north, right? The first W is which way to trade. The second W that you need to look at in each of the trade is when. The first one is the directional bias. Okay, you need to remind it over and over and over again. Keep in mind, because the market is dynamic. It is very, very dynamic, and most trader uses emotion to trade, to make the trading decision. Not only in trading, guys, in every area of our life we use emotion to make decision. Though we say that we are doing it logically, rationally, but most of them are emotional, right? So if you look at, this is our brain, right? And if you look at our brain, we had the three part in that brain. The frontal lobe, which is the newest brain, 40,000 years older. The midbrain, which is the emotional brain, which is millions of years older. And whenever something triggers our emotion, we make those decisions based on those triggers, those emotions, and then we rationalize our decision based on logic. It's completely the other way around, the way we think, right? We take the decision based on emotion and then we rationalize based on logic. But we say that we take the decision based on logic and rational. So in trading, not very different. So in fact, why that way happened, let's understand also, because it's a big part of trading psychology to understand the emotion, how that plays out in each trade, in every aspect, every facade in our life, is that emotional brain. Is because that emotional brain is constantly scanning, because the emotional brain cannot think logically, right? It's not logical brain. The frontal lobe is where the logical brain, okay, which is, it's an analytical brain that can analyze and make decision, that decision making, which makes a difference between human and an animal, right? So that the conscious part is very smaller, but the unconscious part, that the midbrain, is almost 90% or even more. So that emotional brain scans based on the primitive information it has, and based on that it generates emotion. And if you look at the trading, where the most two prominent emotion that governs our trading is the emotion of greed and emotion of fear. And there is also a very strong reason behind it, right? Because it's the money, right? If you are opening a position, your trading account involved in it. And we do not acknowledge, but as a matter of fact, we hold the highest emotional block on money, right? We have a very stronger emotion behind money. Very stronger. The stronger the emotion, the difficult to overcome it. So then when we take a trade, that emotional brain triggers and it becomes irrational. So that is why this chart we need to look at every time. We need to remind ourselves that what is the direction of the trend? Why am I taking the trade over and over again? Because probably something happened in somewhere else in the day that directly influence our trading decision because of that emotion, because we look at the lens of the emotion, through the emotion of lens, and that judgment that clouds our judgment in terms of as a trader. So therefore, that's why it is so important that we keep this 3W very, very effective. Why? Which way to trade? Either to buy or sell. When to trade? Either sell or not to sell. Okay, so now either to sell or not to sell, that's the second W. When? The third W is why, right? So we need to combine these 3W to become effective trader and to trade effectively. That's where the secret of becoming a better trader. And that's what we see that every session. You guys see that we had that in this live market, I'm trading every day. You guys see that there's no way that, all those trades, you can go back to the live sessions, look at each session and see that how the trade was open and how we have closed with those profits in this live session every day, applying the same principle. And it's easily learnable. What's your thought on that? Share your opinion. Now, buy on gold thought? At the moment, no. I am still looking for sell after the break of this high here, because there is a very, very high probability the market ultimately could bounce back to the upside here. So what we could see in this area here, if you look at, you can see this is the 30 minutes price action from this support level, bounce, pull back, and to bounce back again in that area. So for us to find an entry, if you look at the 4-hour again, you can see that this is where it's slowly trying to push that back to the upside. Now we have 54 minutes for this candle to close. In case this 4-hour not being able to break that high, that could bring even potentially another sell from that candle. But I think before the candle close, we could see potentially another retest. So buying at the moment, though it is a bull market, it's not on my plan. But if you guys buying, you can let us know where you are looking at and how is your plan. And Script for wonderful service that has made a great difference to my trading. There is something to learn here daily. learning and growing, that's our main goal. I also learn a lot every day, though I am speaking, giving an idea, also I'm learning. But many of the things we always need to keep open mind and keep learning. Okay, there is a famous quote from Epictetus. He said that it is impossible for you to learn the things that you already think that you know. So always you need to keep open mind and think that you need to learn more. That means you keep room for growth no matter how good you are at. And that will keep you always pushing forward, becoming better as a trader. Not only the technical aspect, but also the fundamental and also the psychological aspect of becoming a trader. So that is why here you can see that we didn't open any position in that area. And because we didn't open position is we don't want to open in the middle. We want to find the level that is essential for becoming a trader, where you will be able to see right entry. So that being said, 4 hour again, I'm looking at in this area where the market is approaching this 4 hour here. This zone is crucial. So let's wait for the market to reach that zone. And that's what we need to look at. Always look for the better entry area. Also, you can see that it's going back in that zone to the daily high. And in terms of calendar, if we look at tomorrow is Thursday, another big trading day coming up. And tomorrow, Thursday, as you know, there are our schedule for live. Tomorrow, I'm coming on live on NY session only to trade this news. That's gonna be pretty volatile day. This is the first high impact news on dollar this week, so definitely we will be also covering that like today. Today still we have a lot to go. I'm still waiting for an entry in this NY session. I'm in a buy from 3375. Okay, and I saw the ascending support kept being respected, so thought chances were high to bounce up again. I'm in a buy from 3375. Okay. I saw the ascending support kept being respected. Yep. So thought chances were high to bounce up again. Hello everyone. That's a very good point. Okay. That's also good observation. This is the support where the market was respecting. Now, at the same time, if we look at the bigger picture here, what we are looking at with this bigger picture, this is where, if you look at here, you can see resistance, a big drop, and resistance, big drop, resistance, big drop, resistance, big drop. So what we are looking at here, from that resistance, there is a significant drop whenever the market is approaching that resistance line. So you see that this is coming a kind of narrow, forming a narrow triangle. The market is concentrating on that single narrow point, and as every time the price is respecting this resistance line, we most likely could see the market to break here to this support level, and that's where you could see the market to come back here to this support. So if we look at that level here on the upside from the 4 hour, there is a fair value gap here. What I think later today, this 4 hour candle, I'm waiting for the market to potentially break to the upside. Though there is no high impact news, so the chances for a breakout with the news is less, but it's still the possibility. And if the market breaks this high here, it's gonna go to this FVG, and from that FVG is where we'll be looking for potentially sell. And from this support level here, that's what we are looking at, that the market to go ahead, hit that level, cross that high, and then to return again back below. So some of the levels that we will be looking for direct entry on this market. One is the 4 hour high here. If we see the market is going in a specific way before the candle close. The other level that we will be looking at is the daily high. Now we might see that break of this resistance here potentially, and after that we might see boom, strong breakout. So you can see it's approaching that level. Slowly moving back to that zone. Support, pushing that here. So this is also the previous level here. Also there is an order block in that area. The price slowly trying to break that order block in this area. And with that order block that the market is trying to reach is here is the potential sell in this market. Though it is a bull market, if the price reach that level in a specific way, we could look for sell because, and I do not think that today this daily candle will be able to go ahead and can become a completely bull market. Instead, if this daily candle reach that high here, most likely you'll see another rejection again to the daily low, and it's gonna be almost nearly to the end of the day, so the price may possibly revert back below here. So that's what looking at. So here is the support level that you can see after this doji. With a multiple time frame looking at here in this area with the multiple time frame analysis, the market approaching this key level of resistance line where I'm looking at a break of this structure before we look for sell. Now 4 hour close coming for the NY session, and this move that you can see on gold here on the 4 hour, which is pretty sharp bullish impulsive move back to the upside here in this market. So this is where also back to back this one 4 hour, so 3 candles created series of lower high. Now this one going to potentially break that high, and after this break of this high we could see that rejection, and that's why we'll be selling off this market. On Gbpusd, beside gold, 4 hour close, the candle and the market trying to break that high here. And British pound US dollar potentially be, here is the 30 minutes price action. If this one single move going back to that resistance line here, which we can see the price trying to break that 4 hours high, the previous session's high here. And that's where also we will be able to see possible short-term sell entry for a move back below here. From here, Gbpusd pretty sharp breakout, and that breakout could lead the price back to the upside here to this resistance line. If you guys enjoying the live session, don't miss out to like this stream and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done yet. Press the notification bell so that you're not missing any of the content that I am posting every day, including live analysis, trade ideas, as well as live signals that I'm posting on the channel. Now, this move that you can see on gold, now this is according to our SMC indicator. On the 15 minutes, there was a trade was shown here, and if you look at here, 3-to-1 risk to reward trade, this one, and it has been played out exactly. So this indicator also helped me to find out the trade based on the strategy whenever it appears, and I can use it any time frame. For those who are in the premium group, many of you already have got access to that. If you don't have got access to that, you only need a free TradingView username to access to this indicator. I could give you in this live, but there is a training here that you might need to you must need to run that strategy, to run that indicator. Now this is a 3-to-1 trade, okay? So that means you won't be able to find all winner, but overall, if you add up quite a few wins, you will see that at the end of the day, you're gonna should be in a profitable if you do proper risk management. For example, this win here. So many of them you can even break even, win here, okay? So if you look at those are wins, then this 4 wins is 12%, right? Because each win 3% if you're using 1% rule here for each winning trade. So that's how, when you use specific way the strategy, you always stay ahead in your trading. That's always I encourage you to always look for a trade in your best interest, that give you the best entry. So some of the entries with this SMC on the 5 minutes or even the 1 minute chart, we can look to see that how the trade played out. Especially it's a trend trading indicator or the strategy, especially when the market trends, it keeps giving you bunch of winning trades. So if you look at here, you can see that here. So when the market trends, it's gonna keep giving you bunch of winning trades. Here winner. So you'll see that keep winning when the market is trending. So always look for a market that is trending before you use that indicator. So it's always only to trade with the trend. And that's the secret in any strategy, trading with the trend. Going back to the Gbpusd, okay, so we can see that gold here in this area, as from the 30 minutes again looking at the sharp bounce here in that area, and with this bounce here from this support level, pretty sharp move back to the upside. With a pin bar here on gold from this high, and the 30 minutes also dodgy formation. I think we might see possible rejection on the 4-hour. From that key level, it's getting that rejection again. The market slowly trying to break that low here, what we can see in this area. And if you look at the daily, also it's approaching that daily low here in this zone. And after approaching the daily low from the 4-hour perspective, we can see there is a doji. And here is the long wick that we can see. With this couple of long wick candle here in this area, expecting the market to potentially come back here to create a new lower low in this area. From the 1-hour perspective here, we can see that rejection, and with a pin bar, slowly the market breaking that low. From the 4-hour, if we look at here, we can see that it's creating that another doji. Now from here, how the market is going to react will determine that the price to potentially test that level. So back to back two dojis on the 4-hour time frame. This is a very interesting price action that you can see. And after these two dojis, how this doji is going to close important, because before the candle close, is the market going to break this 4-hour high here? And that's what I'm going to enter. If the price now to go back again for another bounce back to the upside, then we could see the price to return again back below. Now, if you look at the 4 sessions today, you can see the 2 sessions. Okay, a long bearish candle, followed by another long bearish candle, followed by 2 dojis. That means 2 bull candles, which is pretty narrower and smaller dojis here on the 4-hour chart. And that 2 4-hour candle, if you look at what you can see, that if they are closing as a narrow doji, the next candle should be pushing up or coming down. That's the question, right? That's what we will be looking at here. Now, if this long wick on the 4-hour before the close just to cross and then to close, the possibility for dropping is very high. Still, what I'm looking at on the 4-hour, these 2 sessions, you can see 2 red candle followed by 2 narrow green dojis. So far, this one didn't close. We might even not see closing as a like that as a narrow doji. But if it is closing as a narrow doji, then it signals still bearish, because 2 red candle bigger, 2 green candle smaller are pullbacks. You see, that's what we need to see the market from a completely different perspective here. Now, we have 25 minutes for this 4-hour to close. We might be able to enter even at the end of the session. Our goal here is to enter for a very high probability. So you guys see that we have very high win rate, and you want to keep that win rate in that way so that we can keep winning all the time as we do most of the time. So here is the drop, and the market after this drop now slowly building that pressure back to the upside, and we would like to see that before the 4-hour close for the price to reheat that level. And looking at this 15 minutes here, there is a pin bar. Looking at here, the possibility for the market to sell off after this close, how this candle closing, as I mentioned, is important. If this candle closing above, there is 2 probability. But if it's closing as a doji, we could see that the market to turn back down is higher, because move, pullback, another move, another attempt from the seller here. Now we still have 20 minutes, is quite long time for that move to see. And I'm looking at on the 5 minutes now for a possible entry. So the market is slowly from the 5 minutes trying to push back above here. Okay, we see that there's a 5 minutes candle close coming, and I'm going to place a sell limit here at this level. Stop loss keeping above this high. We'll be explaining later the strategy behind. So around 40 pip stop loss, placing a sell limit at 3385.19 with 221 2.4 to 1 reward to risk. So that's a sell limit. $3385.84. Stop loss 3389.14 and TP target at 3375.85. So we will be looking for a sell from a very high. Place the sell limit in that area, and we see there is the market. If this trade, the pending order will be valid till the 4-hour close. If the market goes only during that time period, we will be, if the 4-hour close without triggering the trade, we will be closing and we will be looking for new possible entry in this market. Now you can see that this is the sub resistance line the market is respecting many times, and that's what we were discussing about, that you can see it's 4-hour candle as well, which is potentially closing as a narrower doji. And if the candle close without reaching that high, we might be able to find sell entry here in this market. In that case, we may be changing our pending order from that to the other direction. So that's the doji on the 4 hour that you can see. And what you are seeing, guys, that this is a bearish move, and we might not see the market to go ahead and hit our entry. Instead, we could see possible bearish move, and we might see even break of this support level. 4 hour, we can see pretty sharp bearish doji is being formed here in that area, and that's a way to see for the market to potentially, we see that there is a pretty sharp break below before the candle close, expecting some pullback to the upside. This is the 15 minutes here. The current 15 minutes candle also showing that potentially the market to from this high getting a rejection. So you might need to readjust the entry. And that's where you can see the market slowly pushing that price back below. Looking at the 4 hour perspective, okay, so lower time frame, there is the 4 hour candle close coming. We might see that this candle potentially closing as a doji here, and think sell for now. Buy made around 3. Yep. Yes, we can see that potential for selling, that we could see the downtrend. And the market so far here, if you look at the 4 hour, which is closing, potentially forming a doji here in this area. And this is the 4 hour doji is being formed. Now from the 5 minutes, if we look at, we can expect now it's a bear market at the moment. So if we look at the 1 hour close and the 4 hour, you can see the market is maintaining potentially a bear market in this area. So it's a pretty narrow doji that you can see, and Yeah, so this is where we can see the 4-hour. I would like to see that it's closing as a doji. So if it is closing as a doji, the possibility for the market to break below is higher in the beginning at least, and then we could see later going up or breaking below to this 20 EMA on the 4-hour chart. Here is the market is forming a narrow red candle on the 5 minutes, which is all right. So you can see the market is here on the 4-hour on in this market is creating bearish market structure that you can see, and that is where the market possibility to be. If we look at the bigger picture here in this lower time frame, here is the 4-hour market structure as well, that you can see the market has maintained that downtrending market structure. And so looking at the lower time frame, so if you look at the 1 minute and the 15 minutes, just pretty sharply So for us to enter the trade here on the lower time frame, the market structure is pretty what you can see in this area, compacted for possible move. So if you guys look at it, you can see the 4-hour is a sharply bear market at the moment. And that is what we are seeing, that reflection here in this market with this doji. Now 15 minutes a bearish engulfer. Now looking to enter the 5 minutes. This is also bearish market. 1 minute we see there is a head and shoulder formation here in this area. So to sell at the moment is to, if you look at the 5 minutes, this is a bearish engulfer here on the 5 minute chart, which is pretty possibly to move back down. The only way we can sell by market, but it's very fast moving market. This is the 1 minute head and shoulder in this area. We're looking at also British pound US dollar, and we look at especially the 1 hour on gold. This is this market that you can see potentially to break below. So our entry was high above this level for a potential better entry. As the doji has formed here, we may see the market to potentially to come back here to break below. So patience is key, as I mentioned earlier, guys. When you are looking at the market, we will be looking at the entry based on the market structure. Patience is key that we are looking at. And when looking at the based on the patience, we sometimes have trades, sometimes doesn't have. In our previous session, we had a very good successful trade. This session, we are almost nearing to the end, and what we see, the market moving in the direction, but to get an entry here, we would like to see the price to reach any of this key level. I'll keep watching the price action. And if you guys look at tomorrow coming up preliminary GDP and unemployment claims on dollar, we'll be trading that in this live market. And I always encourage you to guys to stay fully patient. Long-term thinking is the best way to become better trader. So always think long-term, and then wait for a better entry. Okay, so that being said, we'll see you again with another live update. Here you can see the market now slowly building the pressure back to the upside here. Would like to see the market has trended to that level, and then we'll be entering for potential sell. Thank you for joining this live session. We'll see you again very soon, trading live together. Did I answer all questions? Can we bounce from here? The bounce could be, but if it is bounce, then may not be very stronger, because back-to-back two dojis created series of lower high. Here, what I think the 4 hour could see the market to come back below to 20 EMA or even crossing below, and then to reject back again to the upside here. And with that said, guys, thank you for joining this live session. I'll see you again very soon, trading live together. Until that, stay well, stay happy, trade safe, and always